And we're live. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Pai Sho board. I'm Jack, and unfortunately JoJo will not be joining us this time around. There was just a scheduling conflict between like the behind the scenes work on the episode itself and the behind the scenes work of getting set up for the fifth episode of the Pai Sho board. I'm just convinced that episode 5 might be cursed, but it's okay. We're here now, and that's what matters. With me, I have the voice of Rangi herself. She's been an absolute blast to work with. Welcome, Falon Echo, fellow Northerner, fellow voice actor, and fellow One Piece nerd. How's it going, Falon?
Aw, thank you. It's going pretty good, thanks. How you doing?
Doing good. I'm tired, but that's just the grind, I guess.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah. I've been catching up on a lot of anime lately. I'm slowly working through One Piece. I mean, I'm caught up on the manga, but I've been working through the anime like an episode a day. I'm currently about near the tail end of Whole Cake Island at this point.
Nice. I really need to actually go through and I started rewatching it again, and I am just about to Thriller Bark, I believe.
Ooh, Bark's a fun arc.
I started rewatching it a little while back because it had been like so long. Because when I first watched through it, I'd gotten to Fishman Island, and that's where the dub ended. And then I hadn't actually watched further than that.
I'm told the
And then
dub
I
is
was
up
like,
in
it's been a
Wano
long time.
now.
I'm just gonna watch it all over again.
Not a bad call, honestly.
Yeah, the dub's like gone really far.
I don't recommend doing an episode
I've
a
seen a
day
lot of
though.
clips, but I haven't seen all of it.
I don't recommend doing an episode a day
No,
like I'm doing. That's commitment.
that takes so long. Yep. Um, I just had another one of my friends into it. Apparently, he messaged me the other day, and he's like, "So I watched through One Piece. He watched the live action, and he's like, I just watched through all of it, and he's like, and now I see why you guys love it so much. And he's like, and I'm addicted to it. And I told him about the anime, and he's like, wait, it's based off an anime? And he's like, now I gotta watch
You
that.
what,
And he's seen
mate?
how long it is. He's like, what did you do to me?
Wait. So they got into the live action series not knowing it was based off of anything. And then they start and
No,
then
because
they
he'd
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. No, I was just gonna say yeah, because he came out and played games with me and a bunch of my friends quite a few times, streamed with us. And we talked about One Piece a whole bunch a few times. And so he's seen it come up under recommended on Netflix. And so he assumed that that's what it was that we were talking about. And so he's like, ah, cool, we'll check it out. And so that's why he watched the live action first. And then when I got talking to him about it, and he's like, no, I didn't realize it was based off an anime. And he looked it up, and he's like, damn it, does that mean I have to pay for another streaming service now? And I was like, yeah.
Oh god, that's wonderful. Dude,
Yeah.
in a weird way, and I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I feel like the live action series might be a better introduction to the anime than the anime is, because as much as I love One Piece, the early stuff is a little hard to get through sometimes.
I think the reason why I was able to get into it as easily as I was at the very beginning, um, was because I started reading the manga first. And the manga I feel like handles very beginning of the series a lot better because it starts off much different than the anime does. And I was like hooked on the manga right away. And so I wasn't really as sure about the series itself on the anime when I first started watching it, but I'm like, I know I'm gonna love it, so I'm gonna keep watching it. But I think a lot of people watch the first couple episodes and they're like, oh well, I don't know if I'm into this, and then they stop watching, right? Which is,
Yeah.
I think, pretty much the same thing that happened with me in Naruto, because I tried getting into Naruto and I just couldn't do it. And I've had so many people tell me the same thing. You just got to get past the first little bit, and then it gets so good. I'm like, that's what I think the same issue is with One Piece. I got to do the same thing.
Funny you
So,
mentioned Naruto, because like the main reason I was able to get into One Piece is like, okay, look, I get it's a slow burn. I got through Naruto. I got through Hunter x Hunter. I can get through this. This is no problem.
yeah, I don't like, I really have to go back and try and watch that now because, like, I feel like it's the exact same thing, but like the live action is so much more condensed and like all the highlight stuff, right? So it's getting people right into it, which totally makes sense. I 100% get that. So,
We are going to get to the episode eventually, but I haven't talked to Fallon in several months now, so I figured this would be a nice little catch up session. And sooner or later, we always end up talking about One Piece. So, sorry, that's just kind of
yeah,
how it
pretty
goes.
much.
Like, fun fact, when we had to do retakes for one episode, I think it was episode 4, I want to say? No, it was episode 2. And like I remember it
I
was
was gonna say I thought it was earlier.
it took like a half-hour session. 5 minutes of that was doing the retakes themselves. The rest of us were just kind of bullshitting about One Piece the whole time. So
Pretty much. Yeah. Well, and now like so much of my like career and stuff that I do is so much with One Piece too that I've like have to be like so up to date on everything too that it's just like such a big part of my life now that
right. You know, it's funny. I believe Colleen herself, the voice of Luffy, actually started watching One Piece with her son, and I don't know where they're at now. But last I saw, they had just met Ace, so they're in. I was
oh
gonna say they're
really?
making through. They're getting through it pretty fast because like a couple days they were talking about Baratier, so it's like Jesus, you guys are going through a neck break speed.
Yeah, no kidding, just binging it, eh?
Clearly.
Yeah, Mason loves watching it with me. My son just he loves it and he asks me to do Luffy's voice for him all the time. Like that's like his favorite voice that I do. Like we'll meet people and he's like, "My mom can do Luffy's voice." I don't even know if they know One Piece, buddy.
I mean,
It's funny.
with how big One Piece is getting, it's like it's kind of surprising that nowadays to find people who don't at least know what One Piece is because like they're getting a Macy's Thanksgiving
Yeah,
Day parade float now.
I heard that. That's crazy. And like it was it was when I was pregnant with Mason, I think that I bought the mangas for it, which was like he just turned 7, so like 8 years, 7.5, 8 years ago was when I first found out about it. Like I'd never heard of it before, and somebody was selling the first like box set of the manga on the like on Facebook Marketplace or whatever, right? And I was like, I'm like, I've never heard of this one before, but I love manga, and I'm like, I'll look into it, and I'm like reading about it, and I'm like, a kid eats a fruit, devil fruit, and gets a gum power and turns into a rubber pirate. I'm like, what the heck is this? I'm like, this is the weirdest sounding thing I've ever heard. And I'm like, apparently it's been on forever though. I'm like, it's super long running, got crazy good ratings, and I'm like, oh, I'll give it a shot, at least as weird as it sounds. And I was literally hooked from like the first book. I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was when I think it was Chopper that was when I officially got like hooked into the show.
Oh, really?
Well, this is coming from a guy who was watching exclusively nothing but the anime. Wait, no, I take that back. The fight between Zoro and Mihawk, that's probably what got me into it, like completely full send.
That's totally fair. I don't even know if I could pinpoint when it was that but I know I was hooked right from the very beginning. I was interested in it. I love Zoro though. Like Zoro and Luffy are my two favorite characters. So
Mm-hmm.
and
No,
having the two of them right at the start just kind of like hooked me. So
they have the perfect dynamic. There's the dumb one, and then there's the one who's supposed to be smart but is also the dumb one, and I love them both for it.
yeah, I was gonna say they're both dumb. What are you talking about? One just acts more badass than the other one.
Uh,
One just fully embraces his dumbness. The other one tries to act cool and tough.
right. I don't know if
Although they're
I had
both
to choose a
tough.
favorite if I had to choose a favorite Straw Hat, I would probably have to give it to Nico Robin though, just because reasons.
Same reason a lot of guys pick her as their favorite, eh?
Because she's really good at archaeology and no other reason whatsoever. Not because
I
she's
have a whole
beautiful.
bunch of figures of her now too, because one of my students actually that I taught voice acting to, he's like a huge fan of Robin, and he was clearing out some of his figures, and he sent me a couple of them as a thank you. And
Aw.
so I've got like a little nook in my streaming setup now with a bunch of Nico Robin figures.
Aw, that's sweet.
It was pretty cool.
So not to break away from the talk about
Yeah, it
One
was really
Piece,
nice.
but but uh but it's worth talking a little bit about Kyoshi because you were actually involved right from the start. You actually auditioned for Kyoshi herself at the beginning, remember?
I did, yes.
Yeah, and so originally I ended up going with Anna. Like it was tough. Like I had to go through like kind of like a final audition between both of them to see who would be better suited for who. And ultimately, I think I made the better call. But like I remember after the auditions were over, I messaged you and I said, "Hey, look, so I don't know if you'd be a good fit for this role, but I do have a role I think you'd be much better for, and that's coming next episode. So if you want to stick around for it, by all means. In fact, I think I even have something I could do for you in the opening. But yeah, and then that's just kind of how we ended up.
Yeah.
So that's how we ended up getting her as Rangi. Like, I think there was only like two voice actors in the entire cast that I got legitimately through auditions. The others I was like, hey, maybe it'd be better for this role in the future.
Yeah, well, and because you did, I think you actually tried getting me to do a little bit of a test read for Rangi because I remember you saying that you thought that probably be okay for like either role, but you felt like I would fit this one better and that it would work better fitting Anna as Kyoshi, and that just the way that we were, that it would make the better option to have us both set like that. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it worked out really, really well.
I think so too. I remember you messaged me after we got done with episode 2. It was like I can't believe that there was singing and you didn't ask me to do it. I'm so upset.
Well, oh yeah, because you said that you never got me to try it when we did the audition. I think it was that I was upset about because I was like, I've been a singer since I was 4, and I'm like, you never gave me the chance to try that in the audition. Because
uh,
you said that she did that in the audition. I was like, you didn't get me to tell me to do that.
I know, and I'll fully admit that was a fault on my part. But to be fair, I had like no musical direction to give you either. She just kind of went and did her own thing. So it was like, okay, you know what? She's got dedication to the part. I'm sure you had dedication to your part, and ultimately, the thing I'm trying to say is I think everyone got put where they needed to be though.
Oh yeah, I agree, and she does an amazing job.
Yeah.
So
Um. Yeah, I remember like when we posted on Twitter for Team Kyoshi about like how you were one of our people we were interviewing for this episode. I think she was one of the first people to like it, so I can see you watching, Anna.
oh, that's awesome. Yeah, she's so sweet. I love her. And she's like, I was really excited that we actually got to do that one recording together and stuff. It was so nice actually getting the chance to actually work with her
Yeah,
since we
that
don't
was
really get that opportunity very often,
yeah
right?
yeah. It's not really it's definitely not a common thing in indie projects for sure. But we can talk a little bit more about that in the next episode because we're working on another episode. I mean, I guess it's kind of an obvious thing because we're on episode 5 with a and we're like barely into Act 1. But anyway,
True.
with that, I think we can start doing a little bit of look at the episode itself.
Fire.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you did the opening too. So I think that was
Oh,
like the deal.
yeah.
We did
Water.
Yeah, that was what you ended up getting me to do.
Yeah, there was a little bit of backlash about this because people wanted there was like this Reddit post that was like kind of a fan version of it, because a fan version of like how they imagined the opening for Kyoshi if there was one, and it was like this monologue. It was good, but I wanted something that was a little bit more centric to the character, because like I don't even think it was Rangi that was supposed to be saying it. I think it was like Genju, I think, but
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I remember you saying something about that, but you thought that it would work really well doing it like this.
yeah, I feel like it would be better because I wanted a character who had a close relationship to the Avatar, and the reason I didn't go with Genju was actually it's a spoiler. I don't want to get into it right now, but we'll get into it as that comes
Fair.
as it gets closer. But yeah, and I think that was the first time we actually like legit worked together too. Was working on that opening.
I think so.
Previously on Rise of Kyoshi.
Tagaka, Marquess of the Eastern Sea.
It's an honor to meet the Avatar in the flesh. When I saw you bring these butchers to our peace treaty signing, I thought for certain it meant violence was in our future.
Is it true?
Out! All of you! I need to speak with the Avatar alone.
I do so look forward to our battle of wits tomorrow.
All right, here we go. Negotiations part 2. The day after
Right.
we're all in the same tent after Kyoshi and Rangi had a good night of being very good friends.
Avatar Yun, it's time.
Again, I really want to highlight some of the music done by by Jerome Jensen. It's been an absolute blast to work with him. Maybe we'll get him on an episode at some point, but his music is one of my favorite consistent things about working on this. Just
please bear with me for a
So
moment.
talented.
it's amazing. One of the biggest crimes is like the fact that the guy, if you look at his SoundCloud, he's got like maybe 25 followers. So if you're watching this and you're on SoundCloud, please do me a
Really?
favor and give him a follow, because the guy is absolutely insanely talented. So give him more love. He needs more. He deserves more love.
Agreed.
Hold on.
So the sound mixing for this episode was pretty tough because I've got like an entire library of sound effects, but like the hard part was really when it was getting a bunch of ice sounding sound effects. So for this one in particular, when she was like summoning the ice slab to like have everybody write, so that like people had a desk to write on, what I did was I actually took the sound of a breaking glass and I reversed it and like kind of reverbed it into each other. So it's like a reverse, like not reverse glass breaking. So that was the closest thing I could do for ice sound effects. The rest I had to pull from like a stock RPG, which I don't even remember what it's called.
Ships are a buffer. I'm the only force keeping a hostile navy from sailing up to the shores of the Southern Water Tribe.
The Southern Water Tribe hates you.
Yes, well, politics are complicated. I'll edit that to self-appointed guardian of the South Pole.
As usual, Danielle doing absolutely wonderful as Tagaka.
They turned their backs on me.
Yep.
Like she just
The attitude.
she just loves being like so what we're hearing is a more subdued version of her performance, actually, because like she went a lot more over the top, and it's like it legit scared me when I was listening to it the first time. I was like, okay, some of that was good. I'm gonna need you to bring it back a little for some other parts.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, like I still have like the original somewhere. Maybe I'll release it one day as like an extra thing. But like, yeah, she was kind of scary as Tagaka, and you could tell she was enjoying herself.
Ooh,
And see, that's a good problem to have, though. Like, that's so much better to be able to tell somebody that they need to pull back a little bit than to try and push them forward because they're not giving enough to it, right? So
Absolutely,
that's definitely
yeah.
a good issue to have.
On the summer solstice.
This is going to be hard on him.
Why, there you are.
Why? Given how the
Yay!
leverage work, the best case scenario is he may be able to negotiate one half to save the other.
We agreed that it's better than saving none of them.
I want them back. All of them.
Avatar!
I want every
I love that.
single
Avatar!
woman,
Just-
child
I think that was like his first take he did too. So I think like that was a real one-hit wonder for Kevin.
Nice.
want their remains sent to their families so that they can give
Love
them proper
that.
burial. We can talk about the compensation you'll pay later.
I don't know how to explain his voice for Genju, but it sounds so like delightfully animated sounding, and I don't know how I could explain it via words.
Really?
I agree. You can have all the captives back. They're free. Every single one of them. What? You heard what I said. Go to him.
I like the
The
nonchalantness of that
captives
picture.
are useless to me anyway.
Right?
Out of 1,000 people or more, not one of them was a passable carpenter. I should have known better. I needed to go after people who lived among tall trees, not driftwood.
You want carpenters?
Boy, let me teach you a little fact about the pirate.
A little detail I did for Tagaka, by the way, and this is so for people who may have picked up on this is you may notice that Tagaka never refers to Yoon by name. Like he always calls him Avatar or Boy. Like it's just. And I did this to like establish a sense of direction that like Tagaka is in complete control, and
timber and craftsmen who know how.
oh god, I forgot. I used Dio's theme from JoJo to like give her an air of menace, and I think it worked.
But otherwise have to make do
Nice.
with the sealskin canoes. They'll never create a large, long-range war fleet because they simply don't have the trees. So yes, I want carpenters and trees, and a port of my own to dock in so I can increase the size of my forces. And I know just where to get those things.
Yokoya.
Okay, this was tough because I had to find the right sound effect for what's going to be coming here in a second. And we came across an additional challenge. So for those of you who don't know, the mobile game for Avatar: The Last Airbender came out with a Kyoshi chapter, and it tackles pretty much up to where the end of this episode ends. And we had to try and go for what they were going for without looking like we copied from the picture, because up to this point we've been kind of free falling and coming up with our own idea for the visuals. But now we at least know, okay, we don't want to do this, even though it's good. We don't want to do it because then it would just be blatantly copying them. And
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it ultimately worked out. I'll post a picture of like the actual image from the game for comparison. But yeah, we switched up the perspective, and yeah, I think it worked out.
Come now. Did you really think I couldn't recognize one of my
Yeah, I
own
think that works really well.
Little detail there, you can see that Yoon bent the ink slab onto his hand, but still wasn't enough to fully catch it, so there's a little blood there. So I think that was JCat that did that image. It was okay, this part was hard to do too, because there was a lot going on. Like an avalanche broke out, kept swallowing everyone, revealing a bunch of warships. Like, it was not an easy scene to pull off, but I think it worked out well.
A chance to show off. A head start on our way to Yokoya. I've been pretending to be a weak bender for so long.
Really love the angle of this shot.
A little overdramatic.
Yeah, I love that. The artwork is just so crisp. I love it.
For real, it's like all of our artists, Kachi, Nav, JCat, all of them have just been fantastic consistently with their work.
Yun!
Give him back.
Well, the Colossus speaks.
Give him back. Now.
Anna absolutely doing a fantastic job for Kyoshi, as always.
Boy's eyes. He's worth more
Yep.
as a hostage than an avatar. Trust me.
And of course I had to bring back Dio's
Love
theme
her
for
face
the...
in this frame.
Huh?
Puzzle.
Oh, yeah.
I love her face in this picture.
Yeah, it's
so
good.
cute and like menacing at the same time.
Not sure if I should kill you now to be safe, or take you with me. You said your name was Kyoshi, right? How would you like a taste of true freedom? To go where you want and take what you're owed? Trust me, it's a better life than whatever dirt scratch existence you had on the land.
I would never become a Daofei. Pretending to be a leader when you're nothing but a murderer. You're the lowest form of life.
Fine.
So, fun fact about this shot here, I think, so we were working on episode 4 and 5 around the same time, which is the reason why both episodes took so long, is because we were trying to sort of split our forces into 2 different episodes. This was one of the first shots we'd ever done, and it was done specifically with the intention of a JoJo reference, because I guess that was a way to motivate one of our artists, and I think it worked.
Nice.
Your way.
It seems to have.
Give me the
Yeah, I mean, like, we had a...
make you.
Like, literally, that's what led to the short that we
Is right or
would put
wrong?
out, like, not
With
much
what?
longer afterwards.
Surely you're not secretly a water
Like,
bender.
even this one, it was kind of inspired by the, oh,
Matter.
you're
You
approaching
saw
me,
what happened to the
JoJo.
last one you tried to play.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Okay, so I do have some thoughts I want to say, but I'm going to wait till the whole sequence plays out, because there's a lot to talk about here.
What in the name of... Fine.
Okay, so first off, that shot of Tagaka, I absolutely love, and I'm really sad I didn't have much more use for it. But I do gotta say, so I want to clear up a misconception about this episode. A misconception is that this sequence and the one that comes like right after this was the reason that this episode took so long. In all honesty, these were both done relatively early in production, but And maybe if you've done creative writing before, you kind of understand the struggle. You know, when you write like a really good scene between two characters and you're really proud of it, but the problem is this is something for chapter 15, and the meat of your writing is on chapter 3. So you kind of have to backtrack and think, okay, now how do we get to this point? And that was kind of the problem we faced was okay, I really like these sequences here, but the problem is, how the heck are we gonna get here? Huh?
How do we build up to that part now?
Yeah, pretty much. That was the problem we had. Another thing is, and I'll post this as an overlay, but we had another shot established of when the Earth Pillar rose up out of the ground. We had a shot of Rangi, Heiron, and Genju on Peng Peng's back, where they would see the spike up. But I wanted it to be more of a reveal for the fact that they survived the attack. I mean, they're the main character, so like obviously you know they're going to, but like I wanted it to be somewhat of a reveal, like build pacing, tension, blah blah blah, that stuff.
Get going.
Right. Let's go.
I really like that shot of Genju though, like with his hair kind of down.
Yeah.
This was another great sequence. Another one that was kind of a challenge to bring with to do sound engineering for. So honestly, if I could go back, I would probably I got a new sound library with me to work with now, so I'd probably redo this scene if I had the chance to do it again. But I think I'm still happy with how it came out. So many good shots here. I don't even know where to really begin, but like I really want to give it to all of our artists who've been working on this. It was a lot of work, but honestly it was worth it. I'm really happy with how it turned out.
I agree. Sorry, I was just listening to all of the sound effects you were talking about.
It's okay. You know, I just realized if we did a drinking game of how many times Rangi says Kyoshi, you'd probably be drunk by the halfway point of the series proper.
Oh my gosh, right?
We were originally gonna have one theme for this sequence where Kuruk appeared, but it got taken down by YouTube. So what you're seeing is that's why if the scene seems eerily quiet, that's why.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this was another challenging scene to work on. So this scene here originally was just going to be the shot of the two of them talking in this room, and as you can see, this episode goes on for another this scene goes on for another 5 or 6 minutes, and I wanted to add a little bit more visual. So it was Kachi who actually sent me some concept art from Avatar: The Last Airbender proper. So that's why we ended up peppering that in with the dialogue that was happening.
Remember the day you and Kelson told me about your earthbending. You said that you couldn't bend a small
Also, using the Ghost of Tsushima soundtrack for the background, I felt was a nice touch.
Fingers that were too thick to pick up a grain of sand.
Yes.
It's true. I never bothered with training. Kelsang always said I should, but, well, it was never a problem at the time.
Well, you didn't tell me that the reverse applied, that you could move mountains.
Okay, so I want to talk about this little detail. I went for a more subtle approach with the dialogue here, but in the mobile version, when they're talking about this, Genju looks a lot more pissed off that she withheld the information about her earthbending ability. It's kind of like you know how everyone got pissed off about how Dumbledore said, "Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?" He asked calmly.
Yeah.
That's I think I liked our approach to this a little better. I mean, granted there wasn't voice acting in this one in the mobile game, but I feel like a more calm approach was better for this one.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of just fits the tone a little bit better.
This is a reprieval scene. We don't need to We don't need to stir up the tension just
Yun
yet.
is in
We got next
danger.
episode for that one.
Exactly.
Stop thinking and
Right.
Wait, where's Yun? Where's Rangi? Where's Kelsang?
It's all right. Yoon, Rangi, and Kelsang are here too. You don't need to worry about them. We
For
lost a
now.
lot of people.
I'm just kidding.
I mean,
One of the unlucky ones.
everyone's got a little PTSD from that, so okay is a very relative term here.
Yeah, right.
Of the Earth Kingdom. It's kind of a mess, don't you think? I mean, look at us. We have more than one king. Villagers in Yokoya wear as much blue as they do green. And the Siwon Desert people barely share any customs with the rest of the continent.
Kelsang always said there was a diversity in its culture.
Did you know that the word for Daofei doesn't really exist in the rest of the four nations?
So this is where like the concept art initially started. So this was Kachi's idea for initially putting in the map of the world, and then some of the concept art for Ba Sing Se is in this as well. So if you're wondering why it's so detailed, it's because, well, that's like actual art from the show, not our work.
Okay. I do like the idea of using this here, though. I think this is the perfect time for it too.
Believing that their pillaging serves as a higher cause. It's all because Ba Sing Se is not a truly effective authority. The Earth King's power is weak beyond the walls. It never reaches across the land as it should. Do you know what's really holding the Earth Kingdom together right now in the Earth King's place?
Really love those shots, though. I can't believe we didn't see more of that in the show itself, but
I'm what's keeping this giant
Yeah,
shackle
actually,
nation
hey?
of ours from crumbling into dust. Because we've been without an avatar for so long, the duty has fallen on me. And because I have no house backing me for my noble blood, or lack thereof, I have to do it solely by creating ties of personal loyalty and debts. Every local government and magistrate from here to the Northern Air Temple owes me. I give them grain in times of famine.
What I like about the scene is that it does paint Genju as a more compelling character. Like there's going to be a little bit of a spoiler for the series proper, but as the series goes on, Genju is ultimately revealed to be the villain. But we see it's not because he wants to be. He's not evil because he wants to be evil. He's overworked and he's stressed, and like he's trying to do the best he can for the world as a whole, like trying to do right by his friend, the last avatar.
Yeah.
So
my reach extends beyond the Earth
So like,
Kingdom as well.
I really do like the character of Genju. Like, even though he does end up pulling what he does, but I won't go into that. That's a talk for another episode.
Tournaments and settled disputes between bending styles before they ended in blood. Any master in the world would answer my summons. But I suppose you wouldn't know any of this. Other than the disaster on the iceberg, you've never really been outside the shelter of Yokoya, have you?
And notice Kyoshi doesn't actually say no to that. She's been around, but we'll find out more about that as the series goes on. I realize I'm foreshadowing a lot of stuff happening, but you know.
Is there anything you want to
Like, I'm just excited to show this stuff as you guys, but we can only put art out as fast as we can make it.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I just wasn't sure of my own limits.
And if you want to have
I
the quality
panicked
that you're
and
getting,
lashed out
Yeah,
as
it's gonna
hard
take
as-
time.
Yeah, it's a labored love, and that's this whole show in a nutshell. It's a labored love. It's labor, but I love it.
You know,
Yep.
I've fought Daofei like Tagaka across the continent for so long that one thing I've learned is that they aren't the true problem. They're a symptom of what happens when people think they can defy the Avatar's authority, when they think the Avatar lacks legitimacy. I'm glad there's at least one more person, an Earthbender, who can fight by my side. Despite what I said earlier, I'm only a stopgap measure, a substitute. The responsibility of keeping the Earth Kingdom stable and in balance with the other nations rightfully belongs to the Avatar.
It should have been Kuruk dealing with the Daofei, shouldn't it?
If Kuruk were alive today, he'd be at the peak of his power. His poor choices are my fault.
Why would you say that?
Because the person who has the greatest responsibility to the world after the Avatar is the people who influence the way the Avatar thinks. I I taught Kuruk earthbending, but I didn't teach him.
I apologize for the lack of commentary on this scene, people, but honestly, there's not much for me to really say at this point. I've used that shot like three of the 5 episodes we've had now.
Kelsang is across from me. But you should rest. I would hate to see you get yourself hurt.
That was ominous.
Yeah, and we're gonna see that play out next episode, so that'll be fun.
Uh-huh.
And that was episode 5. So yeah, ultimately this was a lot of work, but God, I'm really happy with how it turned out. It was 100% worth it. So, yeah. Any last thoughts before we close this out?
Just thank you again for letting me be part of this.
Honestly,
and thank you for having me on today.
Yeah, no, working with you has been an absolute blast, and I got to meet a lot of people because of you, so thank you for being part of the project.
Aw, thank you. Yeah, and I always love working with you. So, and it's so cool just seeing everything come together like this. It's just incredible because there's so many talented people working in like every aspect of this show.
I agree. Like I mean, I may be the editor and the director, but I'm just one guy, and like the best that's come out of the show has not just been from me. It has been from everyone involved. So,
but you do need to give yourself some credit because you're the one that brought everybody together. So.
That is true. I'll give myself credit on that for where it's due, but ultimately, I think everyone deserves a little bit of credit on this. So
I agree.
Excuse me. I need to drink water. Give me a second. Always stay hydrated, people. Anyway, thank you for watching, and thank you for joining me, Falon. So, where can we find you?
Thank you for having me. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. Twitter and Twitch, I am Falon Echo on there, and YouTube, I also have a Falon Echo, and then I also have a channel dedicated to One Piece, which is Monkey D. Luffy.
And just like that, we came full circle, bringing it back around to
Right.
One Piece.
I was just thinking that too.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next episode, and hopefully the wait for episode 6 will be a lot sooner than the wait for episode 5. So, thank you all for being patient,
Thanks,
and
guys.
we'll see you around.
See you guys. Bye.